him, and he's struggled a little bit in AAA. Show that he's human, no question about that. But here's the thing, he's tough, and he's got the perfect mentality to succeed at the major league level. And he's got the arm, he's got the tools, and he loves to compete. You know, he's going to give it his best, and he's going to learn and continue to try to get better. And what's great about the situation is that there's no rush. You know, Tampa Bay was in first place. They've got a great young rotation where he's not going to need. They don't need him to be a savior, so they can kind of let him in and just kind of get acclimated and get his feet wet, and you know, whatever he can contribute, he can. But there's no pressure.
And what an acquisition he's going to be down the stretch. He can kind of have a role like John Chamberlain did last year for the Yankees. And David Price eventually is going to be the man who anchors that rotation. But with Kazmir and Shields, Edwin Jackson, all those young starters, whatever Price gives them is going to be an absolute bonus. So it'll be like almost like a waiver wire deadline here, like a nice little pickup for him at the end of the season. But he doesn't have to be as spectacular as we expect him to be in a few years.
Right, and he's really lucky here because he's coming into what appears to be a very winning culture, which obviously has not always been the case for the Tampa Bay Rays. What I'm trying to say here is that when people come into the major leagues and they're that talented, usually they're expected to bring the team up. As you mentioned, they're trying to anchor the team. Price can take his time here, which is a real luxury for him, and I think that'll help him out.
I just love the fact that nationally people love him already. You know, there's a profile in Sports Illustrated a month back. He was on ESPN E60 Tuesday night. You know, it's just great to see him. You know, his personality is so contagious. Everyone loves being around him. His teammates do, and it's great to see that for Vanderbilt too. You know, it's a great representation for our school.
And but he's not the only one there in the major leagues, or about to be in the major leagues, we hope. Pedro Alvarez has gotten himself into kind of a sticky situation, what with Scott Boras, the big agent, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the team that drafted him, and the Major League Baseball Association, which is kind of, I mean, it's all come together. Let me just explain. He signed a contract the night before the deadline. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on whose side you're taking, the deal was claimed invalid. And so what happens is Boras is trying to make more money for both Alvarez and himself by pumping more money into the deal. But the Pirates obviously want to have their star player there. So guys, what do you think we can take away from this?
Well, I mean, the Pirates have to be really disappointed in Alvarez, and obviously, I mean, they already said, they've actually issued a statement saying they're not surprised that this is coming from a guy like Boras. You know, he's notorious for always pushing for really, really high, sometimes unaffordable payments for his clients. And I think that it reflects poorly on Alvarez himself. I mean, I know that Boras is almost kind of using him right now, but I mean, he already had a $6 million contract and he wants to renegotiate. I mean, he's already got more money than he can dream of, and he's playing baseball, and we all know that he loves to play baseball. I mean, it sounds corny, but that's the thing that we really think he should be focusing on, and just focusing on, this whole dispute that's, off the diamond and all just about dollars and cents. I think it really is, it's not going to help him make a good name for himself in Pittsburgh.
And here's the thing with Pedro Alvarez. He signed with Scott Boras because he wanted to get the most money. So when you do that, you're taking a little bit of a risk, because Scott Boras cares about Pedro Alvarez, but he cares more about himself and his image, and what that contract represents for him. So, for Scott Boras, this extra $201,000, that's what it's about, from $6 million to 6.2120, whatever that, that extra little bit, that's what it's about. And it's just sad that Pedro's stuck in the middle, like you guys were pointing out. And I don't know how it's going to get resolved. I think eventually Pedro will sign that $6 million contract and eventually start playing. But it's just bad to start, it's just bad karma to start your career like that for a city that so badly wanted you.
Especially when you look at how well David Price has been received by the Tampa Bay fans. A franchise that wasn't necessarily as successful. Alvarez could walk into a situation in Pittsburgh and have been that good guy, that savior. But he kind of walked into this when we signing with Boras. He was looking to do a little bit of image control after the Alex Rodriguez situation last winter. So,
definitely, and to give you an idea of what Boras' character is, there's another player that kind of got snagged in this whole schism, I guess you could say. Kansas City Royals prospect was slated to start playing. He signed his contract, but I'm not entirely sure what the details here are. But because of this deal, he doesn't get to start playing, and he doesn't get his contract signed because this is all going on. So Boras is effectively tying up, multiple parties here, and I mean, you just can't. It just seems that this could be the standoff point, because this has been going on for a while. Boras has been bullying people around, And it's just a shame that Alvarez needs to be in the middle.
I think Major League Baseball is just fed up with Scott Boras at this point.
Sure.
You know, said he fights for his clients, he does do that, but I just think it's gone too far.
Bottom line is, Boras is the real villain here, but Alvarez is guilty by association.
That's great. Yeah, definitely. All that wraps up our roundtable discussion here. We'll be back later to go off campus. Right now, we're going to turn it over to the Vanderbilt football team to see how they thought they did last week and taking a look ahead to Thursday's game against South Carolina.
Well, we're very pleased with our victory on the road versus Miami University in Ohio, and thought it was a good test for us. We had to overcome some adversity right off the bat with the fumble, and then we made some big plays and then protected the lead in the second half, and I thought played hard most of the way. So, you know, if we can continue to do that, you know, I know the competition is going to pick up this week, and you know, this is a huge game for us to play South Carolina on a Thursday on ESPN. We're extremely excited about this, and you know, it's just around the corner. We'll be ready to go. Well, he just knows how to play football. I mean, it's just you know, a knack he has to know where the ball is going to be, and he had an interception, he had a sack, a long punt return right after the sack. He tackled well, so you know, he can do it all. And you know, DJ's, you know, he's different than most of them I've ever seen. He just doesn't have to tell him over and over and over again that the quarterback's going to read this and then go to that, and he got it down the first time you tell him. So he's a lot of fun to have on your football team, I know that. Well, I don't know if this is signature or not. I mean, we've
ESPN and
well, it's the second game. That's the way we're treating it, and we're playing South Carolina, quality opponent. You know, I've said it probably 1,000 times. There is no hump. We won't get over hump. If we beat South Carolina, we're going to have to play good the next week to have to win. I don't care who it is. You know, we have to play well. And yeah, it would be a nice win, a real nice win, but I don't think it's going to, you know, put us on an extra special place where everybody says Vanderbilt has arrived. You have to always go at it every week. We had to play well against Miami to beat them. Well, you either run it or throw it, and we were running it and throwing it. You know, he's pretty good. A lot of those, you know, I think everybody has a little bit of misconception that he just pulled the ball down and ran it all the time. Most of those runs were designed plays, and the offensive line did a great job of executing on those plays and did some great blocks, and he took advantage of it. And he did scramble some, but not near as much as everybody thinks. So today's football world, you know, you got to be ready to throw the ball if they're going to, you know, put them up there in the box, and you got to be ready to run the ball if they're going to cover. And I think we're very capable of doing both. So I think Chris is also. So whatever's happening during the game, we're going to try to capitalize on it and go with it.
Chris, I mean, great game on Thursday. How do you think it went overall?
The game was pretty good. You know, I think we learned a lot, and it was an opportunity for our players to just, you know, kind of get off this practice field and put, you know, some strategy to a real, actually take advantage of the opportunity on the field. And it was fun. I mean, we just had fun with each other, relaxed, and played football. It was a good time.
Definitely. So that must have been really good momentum going into next week. How do you think South Carolina is going to go? Do you have a game plan ready for them?
Yeah, we're trying to establish a game plan right now. We're not really set on things, but I think we're just, you know, trying to strategically plan things and see how you know, how they're going to game plan us, and, you know, try to attack them from that standpoint. But you know, right now we don't have anything solid, but we're working on it.
Definitely. And so, I mean, this is obviously the home opener, senior season. What does it mean to you to have this game, especially, you know, ESPN game too? A lot of people watching.
This game means a lot to me on a personal level.